In the wake of a disappointing electoral cycle, the Democratic Party faces a critical juncture that could redefine its future and approach to governance. Despite losing the presidential race, Senate seats, and failing to retake the House in 2024, party leaders and advocates assert that hope remains for recovery in the upcoming national elections. The path forward, they argue, lies in reconnecting with middle-class and blue-collar voters, a constituency that has gradually drifted away over the past quarter century. The Democratic Party's recent losses have been attributed to its inability to resonate with diverse voter demographics. Over the last 25 years, there has been a steady decline in support from white, Black, Hispanic, and Asian middle-class voters. This trend, described as an open wound, poses a serious threat to the party's viability, according to a call to action from party advocates. The Democrats must prioritize effective communication and advocacy for policies that safeguard the American dream for all citizens, particularly in the face of escalating economic inequality. The narrative surrounding the 2024 elections suggests that the defeat was not solely due to President Joe Biden's late decision to exit the race, nor can the blame be placed entirely on Vice President Kamala Harris's brief campaign. Rather, it reflects a broader perception of the Democratic Party as a defender of the status quo, an image that clashes starkly with the urgent needs of working Americans. The party's hesitance to challenge rising housing prices, stagnant wages, and the increasing cost of education has left many voters feeling unheard and unsupported. Defending the overall status quo at a time when the American dream is slipping away for so many working Americans is politically tone-deaf and dangerously out of touch, said one prominent party voice. This sentiment underscores the urgent need for the Democrats to innovate and advocate for bold changes in critical areas such as housing, education, healthcare, and labor rights. The party's focus has often veered towards cultural issues that, while important, have not addressed the immediate economic anxieties of many voters. For instance, rising costs in everyday living, such as soaring housing prices and grocery bills, have taken precedence over discussions about social justice and environmental policies. Food, energy, housing, and education are core voting issues, highlighted a concerned advocate, emphasizing that voters are seeking tangible solutions. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has also voiced concerns regarding the party's direction, suggesting that the Democrats need a clear and compelling narrative. In her recent remarks, she noted that Biden's warnings about the influence of oligarchs in America came too late for them to be effectively leveraged into a coherent platform. If you ask a working-class American what the Democrats stand for, they will really not be able to give you a clear answer, she stated, calling for a revitalization of the party's message to better reflect the needs of its constituents. The Democratic Party must also confront the perception that it is disconnected from the realities faced by middle-class voters. Many feel that the party prioritizes discussions around progressive social issues over their immediate economic concerns, leading to a sense of alienation. In a striking anecdote, a voter in Pittsburgh expressed frustration over feeling dictated to about lifestyle choices such as purchasing electric vehicles while grappling with the more pressing issue of job security. To reclaim its footing, the Democratic Party must engage in active listening, reaching out to voters in traditionally conservative areas and addressing their concerns directly. Historical examples such as Barack Obama's strategy in 2008 demonstrate the effectiveness of grassroots engagement and the importance of showing up in communities that have felt neglected. Looking ahead, the Democrats have a promising roster of potential candidates for future elections, suggesting that the party can emerge strengthened if it learns from past mistakes. However, a recent Morning Consult poll revealed that only 51% of Democrats believe their party is heading in the right direction, a marked decline from previous months. This indicates a pressing need for a revitalized economic message that resonates with the electorate and restores faith in the party's ability to champion the American dream. In conclusion, the road to recovery for the Democratic Party will require a significant shift in strategy, one that prioritizes economic reform, engages with the concerns of the working class, and restores trust in the democratic process. As the nation looks toward the next critical elections, the party's ability to adapt and effectively communicate its vision will be paramount in determining its success and relevance in the ever-evolving political landscape. In the wake of Donald Trump's return to the political arena, the United States is grappling with a mix of apprehension and intrigue over the implications of his re-emergence. As his supporters rally around him, concerns are mounting about the potential impact on American democracy and international relations. The reactions from various quarters reveal a nation at a crossroads, with members of Congress and political commentators expressing a range of sentiments about Trump's influence on the political landscape. Among the most notable responses is an opinion piece from the Des Moines Register which criticizes members of Congress for what it perceives as a lack of courage and patriotism in the face of Trump's actions. The article underscores a growing discontent among constituents who feel that their representatives are failing to uphold democratic principles. The author argues that true patriotism requires standing up against actions that threaten the integrity of the nation, emphasizing the need for lawmakers to prioritize their duty to the American people over party loyalty. Meanwhile, in the Record Courier, David E. Dix highlights the efforts of GOP members to solidify their positions within the party during Trump's inauguration. The piece notes how certain figures are actively seeking to bolster their credentials in the eyes of the party's base, suggesting that Trump's influence remains a significant force in shaping the Republican agenda. Dix's analysis points to a larger trend of political realignment as party members navigate the complexities of loyalty versus accountability. Internationally, the implications of Trump's re-election have sparked concern among global leaders. An article in Fair Observer captures the unease felt in various countries regarding Trump's return to the forefront of U.S. politics. The publication cites fears that his policies could lead to increased isolationism and a departure from established diplomatic norms. As one commentator notes, the world is worried because Trump's approach to governance is unpredictable, and that unpredictability can have far-reaching consequences. In addition to these discussions, the newsletter features letters from readers expressing alarm over perceived attacks on U.S. institutions. This dialogue reflects a broader anxiety among the public about the state of democracy and the role of leadership in safeguarding it. Many contributors argue that the current political climate requires a re-evaluation of what it means to be a responsible leader in such tumultuous times. As the political landscape continues to evolve, it is clear that Trump's resurgence is not merely a matter of domestic interest but a topic of global significance. The interplay between Congress party dynamics and international relations will likely define the next chapter in American politics. Observers are keenly watching how lawmakers respond to the challenges posed by Trump and whether they will muster the courage to uphold their responsibilities in a democracy facing unprecedented scrutiny. The coming months will be critical in determining the trajectory of both American politics and its standing in the world arena. In a significant turn of events within the Senate, Republican skepticism towards President Donald Trump's cabinet nominees has notably diminished, paving the way for the anticipated confirmations of controversial figures like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard. Both nominees, who have garnered mixed reactions from the GOP, are now on the verge of receiving approval for key government positions. This week, the Senate will cast votes on Kennedy, nominated for Secretary of Health and Human Services, and Gabbard, slated for Director of National Intelligence. Their nominations have advanced past committee votes, a feat that seemed unlikely given their non-traditional backgrounds and views that have at times raised alarms among Republican senators. The shift in sentiment among GOP lawmakers reflects a broader trend of alignment with Trump's vision for his administration, even at the cost of traditional party standards. Senate Majority Leader John Thune has expressed optimism following the momentum gained in the confirmation process. "There's never any guarantees, but we're trending in the right direction," he stated, highlighting the urgency felt by Republican leaders to demonstrate loyalty to Trump and secure rapid confirmations. This eagerness is underscored by the presence of other polarizing nominees, such as Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and the anticipated appointment of Kash Patel as FBI Director. The path to confirmation for Kennedy and Gabbard was fraught with tension. Republican Senators Bill Cassidy and Todd Young, both of whom have sought to maintain some degree of independence, initially posed potential roadblocks. Cassidy, a physician, voiced significant concerns regarding Kennedy's vaccine skepticism, citing his professional ethics. Young, a former intelligence officer, questioned Gabbard's past statements regarding Edward Snowden and Russia, demanding assurances that she would uphold national security. However, a series of negotiations led by Vice President J.D. Vance ultimately convinced these key holdouts to support the nominees. Young described Vance's approach as respectful and open to dialogue, which marked a stark contrast to the often combative dynamics seen during Trump's first term. Cassidy similarly noted that his eventual vote for Kennedy followed intense conversations that yielded specific commitments regarding vaccine policies. The willingness of Republican senators to back such unconventional nominees signifies a notable shift in the party's dynamics. The collapse of resistance among GOP lawmakers illustrates a preference to align with Trump rather than risk the political consequences of defiance. As Cassidy and Young navigated their reservations, they were acutely aware of the political stakes, particularly as Cassidy faces an upcoming election and Young balances his loyalty to party leadership with his own principles. The Democratic response has been one of frustration and strategic maneuvering. With the Republican majority largely unified, Senate Democrats have little power to halt the confirmations. Instead, they are focusing on procedural tactics to extend debates and draw attention to what they see as a troubling expansion of presidential power under Trump. Senator Richard Blumenthal expressed hope that these efforts would galvanize public outrage and prompt constituents to hold their Republican senators accountable. The unfolding events not only reflect a significant realignment within the Republican Party but also raise questions about the future of governance under a Trump-led administration. As more unconventional nominees gain traction, the implications for policy direction and party unity could be profound. Observers will be watching closely to see whether this trend continues, especially as the 2026 election cycle approaches, potentially reshaping the landscape of American politics. In the bustling corridors of the U.S. Capitol, new voices emerge to represent the concerns of their constituents shaping the future of American policy. One such voice belongs to Representative Jeff Hurd, who recently took office as the representative for Colorado's 3rd Congressional District. Just 1 month into his tenure, Hurd shared insights into his experiences, aspirations, and the challenges he faces in a divided Congress. Hurd's journey to Congress was marked by a strong familial commitment. With 5 children at home in Grand Junction, he expressed a deep motivation to balance his legislative duties with family life. "It certainly motivates me to get back to Colorado as much as I can," he noted, emphasizing his intention to be present during district work weeks and weekends. For Hurd, serving in Congress is not just a political responsibility but a family affair, one that enriches both his personal and professional life. As he navigates his new role, Hurd's daily schedule is nothing short of hectic. "My average day in Congress is really busy," he remarked, filled with meetings, committee hearings, and preparation for votes. The intensity of congressional life has been a revelation, with Hurd describing it as triple-booked kind of busy. He acknowledged the weight of his responsibilities but remains motivated by the opportunity to make a difference. A significant aspect of Hurd's strategy involves defining his legislative focus early on. He aims to concentrate on areas such as natural resources, energy, and agriculture, sectors he believes are critical to the families and small businesses in his district. "I realized that if I'm going to be an effective legislator, I need to concentrate on a few areas rather than broadly," he explained. This targeted approach is intended to cultivate a reputation for expertise in these fields, allowing him to deliver tangible results for his constituents. Operating within a closely divided House of Representatives presents both opportunities and challenges for Hurd. With Republicans holding a slim majority, he recognizes the delicate nature of legislative negotiations. Being in a majority is certainly much better than being in the minority, he stated, while also acknowledging that a narrow margin complicates consensus-building efforts. The fluctuating dynamics of party loyalty and dissent may require Hurd to navigate contentious issues with care. Hurd's pragmatic approach extends to his relationship with former President Donald Trump and his administration's policies. While he has expressed disappointment over certain decisions such as Trump's pardoning of individuals involved in the January 6 Capitol riots, he emphasizes his commitment to representing the interests of his district while also acknowledging the broader Republican agenda. When I do speak up on issues, it's going to be those circumstances where I feel there are important principles at stake, he noted. Positioning himself as a principled advocate for his constituents. Trade policies and federal funding are also pivotal topics for Hurd. He is carefully monitoring the implications of Trump's tariffs and the recent freeze on federal grants, which raised concerns among local tribes and community organizations. His responsiveness to the needs of his constituents reflects a commitment to transparency and accountability, essential attributes for any effective legislator. As Hurd settles into his congressional role, he differentiates his approach from that of his predecessor Lauren Boebert, who garnered significant media attention. Hurd aims for a more localized focus, stating, "I want to make local headlines, not national headlines." His commitment to effective governance over sensationalism underscores his dedication to the people of Colorado's 3rd District. Looking ahead, Hurd's early days in Congress suggest a willingness to engage collaboratively across party lines, seek constructive solutions, and prioritize the needs of his district. As he continues to establish his presence in Washington, the political landscape will undoubtedly shift, but Hurd's approach reflects a grounded commitment to service and community. His journey is just beginning, and the impact of his legislative efforts will unfold in the months and years to come as he strives to balance the demands of Congress with the needs of his family and constituents. In the ever-evolving landscape of American governance, the recent actions taken by President Donald Trump and his administration signal a potential clash with the judicial branch, particularly as the Supreme Court's role comes under scrutiny. Trump's aggressive push to reshape federal agencies and policies through executive orders has ignited a flurry of legal challenges, bringing to the forefront questions about the balance of power among the branches of government. In the early weeks of Trump's second term, more than 30 lawsuits have emerged in response to his sweeping policies, which aim to downsize the federal government and impose significant changes across various sectors. Notably, judges have issued temporary blocks on key initiatives, including efforts to freeze federal spending, dismantle the United States Agency for International Development (USAID), and alter birthright citizenship. U.S. District Judge John Kokenauer, who recently extended a temporary injunction against Trump's birthright citizenship order, bluntly criticized the administration's approach, stating, "It has become ever more apparent that to our president the rule of law is but an impediment to his policy goals." Despite these setbacks in the courts, Trump remains optimistic about his legal standing. "I just think we'll end up winning in court." In the Supreme Court, he asserted confident in the capabilities of his legal team to navigate the challenges ahead. This confidence is juxtaposed with the reality that Trump's administration faced a mixed record in the Supreme Court during his first term, often struggling to secure favorable rulings, particularly on controversial policies such as the travel ban affecting several predominantly Muslim countries. Legal experts have highlighted the significant implications of these judicial actions. Scott Anderson, a former U.S. diplomat, warned that the freeze on foreign aid could cripple the infrastructure reliant on federal support for overseas assistance, noting that whole industry is getting crippled and may collapse. Meanwhile, the opposition to Trump's policies has largely taken refuge in blue states, where judges may be more sympathetic to challenges against the administration's directives. The judicial pushback also reflects broader concerns about the administration's creation of the Department of Government Efficiency (DOGE), led by tech billionaire Elon Musk. Critics, including unions representing federal employees, have mobilized against DOGE's efforts, which some see as an attempt to undermine the federal workforce. Rishabh Sanghvi, General Counsel for the American Federation of Government Employees, remarked, "We don't normally talk publicly about the chance of success of these things. But we know the law is in our favor on these cases." The implications of these judicial interventions extend to the Supreme Court, which has been increasingly viewed as a pivotal player in determining the future of administrative power. Christopher Walker, an administrative law scholar, pointed out that the court's recent decisions reflect a trend of constraining agency action, particularly through the elimination of Chevron deference and the introduction of the major questions doctrine. This judicial shift could empower the court to take a more active role in administrative policymaking, potentially complicating the administration's deregulatory agenda. As the second Trump administration unfolds, the interplay between executive action and judicial oversight will be critical to watch. The administration's strategy appears to hinge on leveraging judicial precedents to advance its agenda while facing significant legal hurdles that challenge its authority and legitimacy. Legal experts and commentators alike are bracing for a lengthy battle over the scope of executive power and the resilience of the rule of law. Looking ahead, the outcomes of these legal challenges may well shape not only the Trump administration's policies but also the broader landscape of American governance, as courts weigh the legality of executive actions. The implications for future administrations and the fabric of administrative law will remain a focal point of discussion and debate in the months to come. The evolving dynamics of judicial constraints on agency action will ultimately test the limits of executive authority and the enduring principles of American democracy.